your right. Actually, Sasser on your right, Welch on your left. We will get that corrected before this game does begin, and we will be underway here from Dallas.
So you're trying to blend together. Nexus of Gates is kind of blending together two things. One is wilderness reclamation plus expansion expulsion, and trying to do all the big mana stuff. And then a mana base built around gates, and then the gates payoffs, most notably Gates Ablaze.
Yeah, this is a deck that Mr. Gottlieb is very, very fond of. He's been talking about this for some time, wrote about it on the premium side of Star City Games. This deck, I've actually never got to watch it play yet, so this is kind of exciting to me because I really want to see what this deck is up to. We're going to start things off with an Is It Guildgate, the dead giveaway.
You should have been up in the, then you should have been bird in my match this morning.
Oh, you probably just lit someone on fire.
Oh, they had a lot of lands that entered the battlefield tapped. I don't know too much about the details past that. They were gates, and I didn't get a building on the budget vibe, so.
Here is Thought Eraser. Gonna get a good look at Drake's hand. I see a lot of guild gates, two of the Azorius variety, one Gruul, a Nexus of Fate proxy. I think I also see another Is It Guild Gate, and then it looks like Securitas Root.
Yeah, Securitas Route is their big ramp spell.
Yeah, they're gonna take that. Will Drake Welch. Thought Eraser will also allow Welch to surveil. Gonna leave that card on top. We'll head back over to Sasser.
What's up with all these weird foil Thought Erasers?
That's a promo.
Okay.
That's a promo from something.
Everyone's got them.
Yeah. Not sure if it's F&M, some box promo. I got no idea. I just know it's a promo. Hallowed Fountain going to enter the battlefield. Tap there for Welch. Is It Guildgate there for Sasser? We're going to keep it rolling here. Drake to Drake. Ooh. One Drake misses a land drop. Not a good thing to do for Esper Control. Simic Guildgate there for Sasser.
A lot of counter spells in hand, but no lands for Welch.
Azorius Guildgate. And we head back over to Welch. Sasser, well, you know what? His hand wasn't ideal. If he was playing against, I don't know, mono red, you would have burned him alive.
Of course, of course.
Yeah, but in this particular matchup, this is the perfect kind of hand to have. There's a Gruul Guildgate. All of these lands are in the battlefield tapped. Again, what this deck is built off of is there's a Teferi. That's going to resolve.
Yeah, Welch would negate in hand, so feels pretty comfortable here that he can tap out Teferi, get the 2 mana on the rebate, and then be able to negate whatever Sasser's follow-up is.
Back to Sasser we go. And he plans on doing anything, Drake Sasser. Yeah, he's reaching for mana finally. Here we go. The payoffs here. Hydroid Crisis. There's Wilderness Reclamation. That's a real payoff. There's a negate to try to counter that. Oh, I think he's got expansion in his hand. He can expansion the negate to counter the negate. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
But he's still got a lot of counter spells to punch through here. Now, you can go to his own end step, Nexus of Fate, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
And then have some fun.
Maybe.
Sasser's got a little mana floating. And there's the Nexus. Now for those of you who are familiar with the SCG Tour, Drake Sasser is a name that you're starting to see a little bit more of. Keep in mind, last year, he won our Legacy Open in Worcester.
Yeah.
With old Grixis Delver. Beat Elves in the finals. Beat Ben Feingersh, if memory does serve, in the finals. So
extra turns counter busted out.
Oh, nice. That's where Sasser. That's where you might know that name. Now a member of Team Nova.
Some big draws potentially here.
A lot could happen.
Expansion Expulsion would be the dream.
We'll go back over to Sasser now. He's got that extra turn. The payoffs here, again, Expansion Explosion is the big one. Hydroid Crisis as well. And I can't forget about Guild Summit. As here's Securitas Root. Let's take a look at that one. The old Securitas Root.
I think it's explosive vegetations, but for buildings instead of lands.
Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards and or gate cards and put them onto the battlefield tapped and then shuffle your library. So yes, explosive vegetation is a pretty accurate way of describing that one. We got a bunch of mana floating. Is there another Nexus in hand here for oh boy, here we go.
But none of this amounts to very much right now. He's just replacing his draw step, basically.
Oh, well, couple of turns. So there's your turn counters, plural.
But he's drawing to a handful of impactful cards.
Well, Guild Summit's the big one.
Well, Hydroid Crassus, Expansion Expulsion, there's some big ones, but he's empty-handed now, so he's basically just getting 2 draw steps at something. I think that if we get back to Welch's turn, with all the counterspells he has available, his position gets really good, but Sasser has a couple haymakers here. Sasser, rather, has a couple haymakers here that can just end it.
Let's see if he's found one of them. 3 mana. Hello!
Yep.
Talk to me. Show me Guild Summit, please. We're going to draw 3, 4, 5.
We're done.
6,
I think we're done.
7. Okay, no big deal. No big deal.
Well, he's still got a turn in the bank.
NBD, when Guild Summit enters the battlefield, you may tap any number of untapped gates you control. Draw a card for each gate tapped this way. Whenever a gate enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. Sure. Sure, the old refuel. Nexus on the... Yeah, we are. Whoo, boy.
We're done.
Whoo, boy. Nexus of Gates, indeed. Now, keep in mind, this is from the Wilderness Reclamation trigger. Drake Welch, I ask you, how much longer do you want this to go on?
Not very much. I'll play through one live card. He could have missed. Could have missed. Could just be all mana.
It could be. It could be
all. One more card that matters, and I'm giving it up.
It'll be a growth spiral. Draw a card, has the ability to play a land.
Really good sign if he doesn't play anything. Okay.
Time for Sasser to untap and draw. 1 turn in the bank still, folks.
I believe he just drew another Nexus of Fate.
Super cool.
Or a basic swamp with writing on it. Can't tell.
Looks like 4 mana. 6 mana. 7 mana. They're spinning the ball on our finger now. 10 mana. There's a winner. That's going to resolve. Yep. Drake Welch just said, I just need to see something that you're going to kill me with. We found it, and the winner so far of the Drake Mirror is on the right as Sasser up a game here over Welch. Power level at X high.
Yep.
If you can get it going. I mean, obviously there's a real cost here with playing as many gates as Sasser is playing. Let's see, 4 Gruul, 4 Simic, 4 Izzet, 3 Selesnya, 1 Boros, 3 Azorius. You can check out the deck list at home, too, on Cardboard Live. It's up there for you to click on and take a look at here for Drake Sasser's build. You'll also find the sideboards as well on Cardboard Live. We'll start with Welch, however, who's got a real haymaker here in Thief of Sanity. There's 4 of those. 3 Duress, 3 Basilica Bellhaunt, 2 Hostage Taker, a Moment of Craving, a Kaya's Wrath, and a copy of the Eldest Reborn. There's some goodies.
Give me that top 7.
Heck
I think
yeah.
Thief of Sanity and Duress are both major upgrades here for Welch. Needs to do more proactive stuff. And we've been seeing this now with the control decks playing against Nexus of Fate decks. If they're just sitting there saying go, not drawing cards, not applying any pressure, not doing anything, eventually the Nexus of Fate decks can get into a spot where they're resolving multiple impactful spells in one turn. And once they're doing that, the door closes immediately. So more proactive stuff, Duress and Thief of Sanity definitely fit that bill, and I think Welch needs to get a little bit more proactive generally.
For Drake Sasser, he's got 4 Gatebreaker Ram, 4 Negate, 3 Archway Angel, 2 Lava Coil, and 2 Niv Mizzet Perun. I think Negate, obviously, and then probably Niv, or do you want to go same 60 style? I know you like to do that.
I actually think I would consider the Gatebreaker Ram too.
Okay.
I think so. I definitely like the Niv Mizzets and the Gates. I think that Sasser can go a little bit. Sasser here can go a little bit deeper, get Gatebreaker Ram in, and hope that Welch has just cut a lot of his anti-creature stuff or anti-spell stuff. I bet that sideboarding happens very commonly for Nexus of Gates.
Now, here's a question for you. you know you're playing against Esper, and it is commonplace now that these Esper players have 4 copies, or at least 3, but let's call it 4 copies of Thief of Sanity. Do you want to leave in Gates Ablaze? Because that card is problematic.
I mean, you can, I don't mind cutting 1 or 2.
Okay.
I think it's risky to cut all of them, but,
okay.
You can do a little bit of shaving.
Okay, fair enough. Well, those are the options there for both players. We're going to get our eyes on game number 2 here in just a moment, but I want to take a look at regionals, which we've announced the details for a couple weeks ago when we were in Indianapolis, and we're going to go over them again because this is a pretty important tournament that's taking place during Season 1 of the SCG Tour on March 9th. You can find your locations near you, but let's go over the details first. Like the awesome playmat that we're going to have that's free and exclusive, this and the token to the first 200 players at each location. The name of this playmat is The Great Godspeed. So here's the playmat. Now let's take a look at the tokens, plural. 1 for the Great Godspeed Angel token, and 2, oh yeah,
the King of New York.
Oh, yeah.
The Monarch.
Andrew J. Andrew J., who's here this weekend.
Yes.
Who's here this weekend. So that's awesome. His token is maybe the best we've ever done. It's really, really, really good. He won our invitational at the end of last year at SCGCon Winter. What else we got here? I think we got prizes. Oh, we got plenty of prizes. Winner gets $1,200, 20 SCG points, get them closer to qualifying for the Players' Championship, and an invite to our invitational at SCGCon Summer later this year. Everybody in the top 8 will get invited to that invitational. Everybody's going to get some money for top 8ing and some points as well. And then our locations, of which we have 12, and I want it to be known, the bearded dragon, after your critique, has been changed to New Jersey. Is that what you wanted?
No, I wanted to say Bernardsville.
No, okay, right. Okay, my bad. That's not going to happen.
Right.
That's not going to happen.
Bernardsville, New Jersey.
This is the only time where you've been upset that something says New Jersey.
Yeah, just
Ever.
in contrast to everything else that has the actual city. And we're not exactly talking like, the biggest place in the United States.
But these are all well-known cities.
Tell
me one that's not well-known here, ignoring Columbia, which I still think is well-known.
Is it Columbia, South Carolina, or Columbia, some other Columbia?
I refuse to answer that question.
So, all right, we'll scratch that.
Okay.
Yeah, all of these are, relatively well-known.
I think you can make an argument for Durham.
Durham is lesser known.
Yeah.
I would say the least known probably of this list.
Okay.
But no, these are all relatively well-known areas.
You slap a Burnsville up there, no one knows what's going on.
Bernardsville, not Burnsville.
I thought it was Burns. See, there you go. It just proved my point.
Somerset County, New Jersey. Go find it. Go to SCGDFW.com/regionals.
You want us to put Somerset County on the graphic?
It's in Bernardsville.
Jeez.
Season 1, March 9th. That's modern. Go to the city nearest you, be it Atlanta, Minneapolis, or Bernardsville, and go duke it out. SCG points, cash prizes, and qualification to the invitational.
Powerful card here from Welch.
Busted.
I think this is your pick for most powerful card in the format. Is that correct?
I mean,
Maybe,
in terms
if
of
you had to pick,
in terms of raw rate, yeah. I mean, I don't even think I don't even know what is in second place.
Okay.
The decks may not necessarily be good. Sometimes it gets blown up, and that sucks. But I think it's the best card by a lot.
Searcher's Kanta, of course, the card we're talking about here, as it places a Mortify into the graveyard for Drake Welch. Welch on a mulligan to 6 here. He does have his first 4 lands, so not too bad. As now Sasser is going to play a Growth Spiral on the end step. That will resolve, so he'll draw a card and put a land onto the battlefield tapped in Simic Guildgate. So we'll head back over to Drake. He'll draw. This deck doesn't play a ton of basics. 1 forest, 1 island, I suppose 1 breeding pool. But how powerful can your deck be when the majority of your lands enter the battlefield tapped? The answer can be very.
Well, you get to play quite a bit of catch-up with Wilderness Reclamation.
Mm-hmm. Securitas Road. Root.
Are you okay?
I'm okay.
Are you just maybe
it's gonna be negated.
If you're having a stroke, just tap on me twice.
Okay.
Well, I'll take it from there.
That got countered. Mortify is gonna go into the graveyard again. If I'm Drake, I'm keeping track of that.
No question.
That means that my Guild Summit and my Wilderness Reclamation, there's a pretty good chance that if it's on the battlefield, it's not going to leave it.
Yeah, but I think Sasser's probably going to approach the enchantment there as more as a Sphinx's Revelation and less as a value play over time.
Ah, the old Gatebreaker Ram came in.
Yeah, I think Sasser's probably in these kind of matchups. The philosophy is just, game one, my deck's all spells. My opponent's sideboard is going to be for spells, and I should just bring in creatures while they're bringing in anti-spell stuff.
Well, we're going to see this exchange again. Expansion is going to copy a counterspell and then counter said counterspell. In this instance, it was Absorb.
And you can look at Welch's hand here. He's on a surprising number of scrub lands. So he can't actually fight this counter war right now because too many of his lands are white and black producing.
Gatebreaker Ram gets +1/+1 for each gate you control. In this instance, that's 6. And as long as you control 2 or more gates, the Ram has Vigilance and Trample. So right now it's an 8/8. That doesn't take long to get a game over with.
The creatures that you have access to are not weak. You typically not play them game number 1 just because all of your opponents have ways to interact with creatures, so why open that up? But post-board, you've got some really good options.
The payoffs in these gate stacks are absurd.
Yep.
You know, we've seen in years past where some payoffs were quite poor, and, you know, maybe you could go through the Maze's End shenanigans and all the other stuff, but these are real payoffs this go around.
Yep. The Maze's End is kind of its own experience.
Oh, for sure.
It's, you know.
Part of me wishes Maze's End was legal for this format.
No, what I like about this deck and pretty much about the format in general is the games get over with.
Yeah.
Even the Nexus of Fate people, even the Esper Control people get the game over with pretty fast, and the Ram here gets the game over with. I don't want someone sitting there and picking up their deck 20 times trying to assemble the Exodia of gates or whatever. That is really boring and time consuming. This is, you know, someone's got to go. Someone's got to go. We're not gonna play 20 turns.
We got to get to the next match.
Right.
We got to do. Here's a Teferi. That's going to put the Ram away. But Guild Summit did resolve. We had a small counter war negate, and then another negate. Won the counter war there for Sasser. He got the Guild Summit on the battlefield. He drew a card from that trigger by tapping a gate, and then he played another gate to draw a card. Guild Summit may be the best payoff of the bunch, but really all the payoffs are good. You got Guild Summit, you got Gatebreaker Ram, you've got Gates Ablaze. These are all very, very powerful cards.
And that's the thing. A lot of people have talked about Standard being good right now, and I think that it is. And if I had to make a list of the reasons why, near the top of the list, maybe even number 1, and this is not something you necessarily are paying attention to unless you're looking for it, is the games get over with.
Yeah.
Even the control decks, it does not take them 25 turns to end the game. And so I really prefer the payoffs to be things like, the Ram rather than Maze's End.
Well, here's the Ram again. As Teferi put the other one into the deck. We'll go back over to Welch now. Well, Chemister's Insight. Well, a good place for that's the graveyard, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, it's also not a terrible draw step to take, but I think Welch is just trying to speed up getting the Escana transformed.
Welch will draw a card off of Teferi. Absorb in hand. 2 mana. Here's Thought Eraser. Hydroid. Oh boy.
It's a real hand.
Hydroid Crisis. Nexus of Fate, which will be selected. And then a Selesnya Guildgate.
Asking a lot here of Welch to keep his head above water here against all these different angles of attack.
Sasser will draw. It's a 10-10 right now. Play a gate. Make it into an 11-11. Attack you.
It's lethal.
Not sure if there's a card that can be found with the precognitive premonition, and the answer is there is not. Drake Sasser is going to win this match here over Drake Welch, 2-0. And for Sasser, Nexus of Gates, he just came off the top 4 in the Standard Classic in Baltimore. He's off to a great start here, 6-0.
Very easily navigated.